Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a March recap of everything that I read in the month of March. And I had some really great reads. And I will tell you, one of the books that I read, everything else that I've ever rated 5 stars is dropping stars because that book is a 5-star book. So I will start with, let's see, I've read A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. So this is book 2 in the From Blood and Ash series from Jennifer Armentrout. I read The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I did do a vlog talking about this book and why it's really good to read and not be afraid of classics, especially when it comes to this one. And then I read This Twisted Glory, which I did a reading vlog, so you can go check that out. And the last book that I read was For the Fans. And this one is it's very spicy. It is very spicy, so you have to like really be like enjoying the spice. But that one I read on my Kindle app on my phone, so I don't have the physical copy of that one, but that might be one that I have to get the physical copy of. So that is 730 pages long, and I read it in like a week. I was averaging 100 pages a day. But I don't want to start with that one. I want to start with Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I cannot say any, I don't know, I just can't keep talking about this, but Jennifer Armentrout is like one of the top level authors ever. Like, I was listening to, I think it was a podcast or something the other day, and they were talking about, it was the Shit No One Tells You About Writing podcast, and somebody comped their book to ACOTAR or Sarah J Maas or whatever, and they were like, you can't comp to Sarah J Maas, she's like the #1 author in the field of like romantasy. No, I will fight this to death. Jennifer Armentrout is top level in romantasy. I mean, her writing is so much better than Sarah J Maas. How can I even narrow the characterization, character arc, the feel of the characters, feeling that they're real, hearing the characters, understanding the characters. Okay, Sarah J Maas got that in ACOTAR. She nailed it. Like, she did really good with character arcs, at least the first 2 books. Character arcing of the main character, really well done. Really enjoyed it. Loved Feyre. First 2 books, amazing. Like, it blew my mind. And then it trailed off after that. And then especially when she goes on to the other characters. And then her other series, Throne of Glass, like, I just feel like the character arc wasn't detailed enough. The relationships weren't as exciting. I have not read Crescent City yet, but it's on my eventual list. But this one, just the character arcs, the relationships are so strong. Like, I was rooting. I couldn't wait for the two to like end up together and like get real with each other. And the way that they slowly, their relationship slowly deepens, very realistic. Loved it. The fight scenes are directly related to what's going on with the character. It's through her perception. It is, everything that happens is like deeply rooted in her self, her characters, her experiences. It's not like her just slinging the knife and like cutting people left and right. It is about her, whereas in Sarah J Maas's novels, it is just like, we're just killing people. And then there's like a couple scenes where it's about like the main story or the main characters or the main everything. And in this, it's much more succinct. It's much more succinct. So I cannot say more. I cannot wait to read book 3. I don't know when I'm going to read it yet, but it is, of course, on my Goodreads. I'm going to read book 3. I'm going to keep reading the series. And then let's move on. I don't really need to say much more about The Picture of Dorian Gray other than just read it. Oh, stars. From Flesh and Fire. I originally gave this, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, sorry. I originally gave this 5 stars, but now that I'm thinking about it and going back, there were moments in the first book, From Blood and Ash, I couldn't put it down. I could not put it down. I also read that one on my Kindle. It seems like the books I read on my Kindle app, I tend to read faster. I don't know why. But this one, there were moments where I put this book down like halfway through to read this one, and I just didn't pick it back up. So there were times where I was like, wasn't fully engaged with it. I did kind of feel like I was pushing myself to read it at a few points. I mean, these books are long too. This is 628 pages. So they are long. That doesn't help. I would give this 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars. The entire series so far, the 2 books together, 4.8 stars, maybe. Picture of Dorian Gray, I don't know, 4.8. I did originally give it 5. again, like I said, the other book that I read, it changes all the books for me. But I mean, for a classic, it's short, it's quick, it's easy to read, it's got some really big themes in it. It's funny and enjoyable and horrific and just really, really good. So 4.8, I guess, for Dorian Gray. Is that what I said? And then this Twisted Glory, I loved this book. I loved this book. I didn't want to put this one down. I thought about the characters a lot. I originally gave this 5 stars too, but I'm also dropping this one down to 4.5, I think. I'm looking forward to the next installment. I assume there's going to be another installment because it definitely left us on a cliffhanger. Nothing's wrapped up. Not really by the end of this. So this one's good. The whole series, worth a read, 100%. You're thinking about it, considering it, pick this up. If you haven't read Shatter Me by Hera Mafi, definitely read Shatter Me. That series, like, I wasn't really a big fantasy reader or sci-fi or anything. I read, like, you know, romantic, contemporary, you know, Jodi Picoult, Nicholas Sparks. Like, I was that kind of person, like, in my teens and 20s. And then I read the Shatter Me series, and I have not gone back ever again. I love, you know, I love all of the fun, like, sci-fi fantasy stuff. There are a couple of contemporary books that I have read and I plan to read, but Shatter Me series just completely turned the page for me on reading and what books and reading can be. So I 100% recommend this. Watch my vlog on that because that gives more details about the book and about her writing and the characters and everything. But I guess, yeah, 4.5 to 4.8, somewhere in there. And then the last book that I've read for the fans, I put a little thing here for it, but that, I have never felt about a book the way I feel for the fans. And I was watching booktuber Larissa. If you haven't checked her channel out, go check her channel out. She's amazing. She's a queen. She's fantastic. But she, I don't know, in one of the videos, she just briefly mentioned it a couple times. Like, she didn't even do like a full video for it. And I looked it up, I put it on my thing, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, you have to read it. Like, it's so good. So I downloaded it to my Kindle because it was on, I think it was on the free Kindle. If you have like the subscription, you can get it for free, Kindle Unlimited. So I downloaded it. I read the first couple pages. I was like, it's okay. You know, the first, I don't know, 20, 30 pages, I was just kind of like, it's okay. There's quite a jump. So then when they start, the boys are 15 years old. Okay, so it's about 2 boys. They are stepbrothers, so they start to become stepbrothers because their parents get married and they move in together, and they hate each other. They're 2 kind of different people. You have Avi, who is like the, I don't know, emo punk rock kind of kid, and then you have Kieran, who's like the athlete all-star kid, and they have different backgrounds. Like, Avi's father died when he was little, and Kieran's mother left and got married and created his whole new family, and he's kind of left them in the dust. So he feels abandoned, you know, by his parents. And his father is more invested in his business and his work than he is in Kieran. So Kieran feels like he needs attention, you know, he's lacking that positive attention. So he puts it all into his sports and thinks, you know, if I become the superstar, then I'll get the attention. Not outwardly, like, he's not outwardly saying, well, if I become a superstar football player, then my father will finally love me. Like, he's not thinking that, but as a reader, you interpret that. And then they have this moment after they go to college. They end up going to the same college, and there's a situation where they lose money and the family's out of money, and in order to stay in college and to keep living on campus, they have to find a way to make a lot of money really fast. And Avi's friend introduces him to OnlyFans. And so Avi creates an OnlyFans account, and because of his friend and the pressure from his friend and the pressure from his followers, he ends up roping Kieran, his stepbrother, into the OnlyFans with him. And neither one of them, up to this point, are gay or have homosexual tendencies at all. And they start to do this for the camera, and things develop from there. And I don't want to spoil any of this, but it was very, very fun. I loved this. So the spice, very spicy, very, 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 very X-rated. So you have to be into that. You have to want to read that kind of stuff to go into this book. But the character development and the character arcs in this story, more so for Kieran than for Avi. Kieran really, really goes through some shit mentally